Hey, fourth grade. I am sitting in the classroom on this freezing morning, which is why I have my coat on, and I'm going to be making a video today to explain to you guys multiplication using arrays, and we're going to especially focus on 2-digit by 2-digit numbers factors when we multiply. So by the end of this video, you are going to be able to make arrays like the one that you see here on the page. So let's get started. So on the previous page, it was just written in a box, but really, when we are talking about arrays, we're talking about like a grid. So here you see an array, the grid paper, each box is in a separate row and separate column. So because we're going to be putting groups together, we're going to be multiplying here because we have equal rows. So the first thing that we need to do is figure out what is the number that we're multiplying by. So to do that, we're going to figure out how many squares there are across the top. So let me get a different color marker. So across the top, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, 14 is going to be easier to multiply if I split it up into tens and ones. So I know that in 14 there is 10 and there are 4 ones. Then I'm going to actually draw a line that splits up. So I know everything to the left of that blue line is in my 10, and everything to the right of that blue line, there's just 4. Then I'm going to do the same thing for my factor that is in the columns. Let's see how many are in one column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to split it into tens and ones. So 10 and 6 ones. Then I'm going to draw another line that'll separate this side into tens and ones. So I'm going to count up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Right here. Okay. So now I have my array completely split up into tens and ones. This is going to make it much easier for me to multiply. So if I were to decide, first of all, just what is my equation here? What's the number sentence that I'm going to be looking at? Well, I know I'm doing 14 times 16. Because up at the top, there are 14 in each row, and I have 16 rows of 14. So I just put my tens and ones back together. Put the 10 and the 4, the 10 and the 6 back together, and I'm going to multiply. So, in order to solve this, I am going to solve each piece of the array separately. So, I'm going to first look at this big piece of the array, the biggest piece on the array, and I see there's a 10 and a 10, because there's 10 across and 10 up and down. Well, I know 10 rows of 10 is 100. Then I'm going to move on to the top right portion of my array. So I have a row of 4. How many rows of 4 do I have? I have 10 rows of 4. Well, I know that 10 times 4 is 40. Bottom left, I see that there are 10 across here, and there are 6 up and down. Well, 10 and 6 is going to give me 60. And then the bottom right portion of my array, I have 4 going across, 6 up and down, 4 and 6 I know is 24. So really what we just found were 4 partial products using our factors of 14 and 16. So the last step is going to be to add up those partial products. So now I can do this mentally actually, because I know that 60 and 40 is going to give me 100, plus another 100 is 200, would be 224. So that's one way that you can use the arrays to help you solve multiplication problems. This was an example using a grid. Now we're going to look at another example where we're going to use just a table, but we could visualize the blocks in there the same way that we did with our grid paper. Okay, so here I have 26 by 13. I'm not going to use grid paper for this. I'm just going to be splitting it up into tens and ones. So let's start with the 26, and I'm actually going to make that the top part of my array. So in 26 there are 2 tens, and I know that 2 tens is the same as 20, and there are 6 ones. And then just like we did last time, I'm going to draw a line so that everything to the left of that line is going to symbolize 20. Everything to the right of that line is going to symbolize 6. Now I have to do my 13, and I'm going to make my 13 be on this the column side of my array. In 13, there is 1 10, and there are 3 ones. Same thing, I'm going to draw my line, split it up. Everything above the line, there's 10. Below the line, I have 3. Last step is that I need to solve the different pieces of my array. So I just like to start with the biggest piece first. And in there, I would have 20 going across and 10 rows of 20. Well, I know that 10 rows of 20 is 200. How do I know that? Well, I can look at the basic fact in 10 times 20, which is 2 times 1. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. And then I'm going to add those 2 zeros. There's 2 zeros in my factors. There needs to be 2 zeros in my product. 200 is 100 times bigger than 2, which was our 1 times 2, basic fact. Top right, I'm looking at 6 across, 10 up and down. Well, 10 and 6 would give me 60. Again, I could use my basic fact of 6 times 1 is 6. 1 0 in the factors, there needs to be 1 0 in the product, because 10 times 6 is 10 times bigger than 1 times 6. Bottom left, I have 20 across, 3 down. 20 and 3 is 60. Basic fact, 3 times 2 is 6, 0 in the factor, 0 in the product. Last thing, I have 6 across, 3 rows of that 6. 6 and 3 is 18. Finally, we need to put those numbers together because I have found 4 different partial products. So 60 and 60 is 120 plus our 200 is going to give me 320 plus 18 more. So we could say that the product of 26 and 13 would be 338. Hopefully this has given you a better understanding of how you can use arrays to help you multiply, whether they are in the grid form or whether you're just drawing a table to help you. They're really the same thing. One just shows the different, here it shows each individual block, whereas here we're not showing the individual blocks, we're just looking at the different factors and how many tens and ones there are. So, till next time, see you later.